And welcome back to part 2 of BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast, the live stream podcast. BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, about Ojibwe language and culture by Michael Lyons. And I don't know, let's see if anybody says hello now. Excuse me. Okay. Any luck? Not yet. Here we go. Jessica Waboos, can you see us now? I can see you now. Bonjour, Jessica. It's very nice to see you. And Weesani's here too. Bonjour, Weesani. Hey, Stephen, Weesani's here. Ah, yes. Let me say hello. Hello, Weesani, and hello, bonjour to Jessica. I am Stephen A. Leon. Welcome to the show. Geek, and I will see you again. Gigawaba man, menawa. I know I'm going to drop you, and you've already broken both your legs, so you just sit here carefully. Yes, boss. Oh, and Brandy Marie is here. Bonjour, Brandy. So, we were just talking about grief relief, but I couldn't see any messages. And, I don't know. Such a heavy subject. I don't even know if I want to talk about it anymore. Wait a hey, wait a hey, wait a welcome to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, hey, oh, hoka, hey. What can I say? What can you say for yourself, sweetie? I got nothing to say for myself. Yeah, so, bonjour, everybody. We're back. It's a Saturday morning. It's another Saturday night, and I ain't got nobody. I got some money because I just got paid. And how I wish I had someone to talk to. I'm in an awful way. He's in an awful way. That's Cat Stevens. Another Saturday night. Hey, sweetie. What's that? Weesani just gave us $5. Oh, really? Hey, miigwech, Weesani. Weesani says, miigwech for the show, Niji. Have a great day, crew. Miigwech, Weesani. Oh, just generous. Yeah. Have a good day. Brandy Marie says, you were doing a good job earlier. Oh, thank you. It's weird. I feel less comfortable not having a live audience now. Like talking about these things. I almost feel more comfortable when I know the BOOZHOO crew's here. You know. Not that they, are gonna agree or disagree or anything, but it feels more like a conversation when I know for sure somebody's here rather than I'm just talking to a camera. And to a beautiful lady. Aw, sweetie. And to a handsome man. Oh, sweetie. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lyons. Hey, everybody. And Natasha, of course. Bonjour. So, yeah, grief relief. It's weird in a way. In another way, not really. Drawing a comic book. I mean, you could talk about this better than I could. But a comic book about death and grief and depression and suicide and whatever. Something tells me I'm not supposed to say the word suicide. I hear other YouTube people say, oh, that'll get you flagged. But I don't know why. On the one hand, I go, what? No, it's much too serious of a subject. But the reality is, hey, Missy, what's up, Buttercup? Thanks for... Missy just gave us $5 too. Meek, watch, Missy. Thank you, cuz. Then I think, when I was a little guy, my first thing I would read before I'd go to sleep, was Charlie Brown. You liked reading Charlie Brown in bed? Yeah, but I never read Charlie Brown because I thought he was funny. No, I always thought he was sad. I related to Charlie Brown. So I'd have one of those collections, and I'm like a second grader or something. And I liked the artwork. And I liked the characters and stuff. But I remember the stories being about Charlie Brown being in love with the little red-haired girl and getting stomach aches when he had to pitch. Like when would he be playing baseball? He'd get really nervous. And even Lucy pulling the football and all that. I remember feeling bad for Charlie Brown, but also kind of relating, going, yeah, man, life is tough. And so now I kind of go, yeah, you know what? I like it. Kind of mixing tough, sad things with cartoons, I almost find sad cartoons more beautiful than funny cartoons. Like I think memes have replaced the comic strip. They've definitely replaced the political cartoon. Oh yeah, memes are the new political cartoons. But I like this. This is the last page of Grief Relief. It's a cartoon Michael did, and it says, "Death leaves a heartache no one can heal." Oh, what? Wait a sec. And if I can scroll. And it's that night scene with that little squirrel. And now you can tell it's a much sadder cartoon, right? Just busy with stars. But then it says, "Love leaves a memory no one can steal." Death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal. And Michael draws a cartoon. But some kids have to learn about death really young. I was pretty old before I started to know anything about death. My first real death, where somebody had to sit me down and say, sit down, I have some bad news. Somebody very important to you has died. And you're going to cry, so sit down. It was 1977. I was 10 years old. I was too old to be wearing a cape fastened with a safety pin. I knew that, but I didn't care. I was Batman. And my dad called me out onto the porch. He goes, "Sit down, man. I got to tell you something." I sat down, and he was just serious. He goes, "Look, man, sometimes in life, people die. And, that Elvis Presley you love so much, well, the king is dead." And I was like, "What?" I was crying. Couldn't believe Elvis had died. And that's the way my dad put it too. The king is dead. And, I didn't know Elvis Presley, but I was an Elvis Presley fan, even as a 10-year-old. And I was sad that Elvis had died. But it would be many more years before I guess we had a dog. What was the first death you had to experience? I I had a dog that somebody shot in the woods. They shot? Yeah, stupid game warden shot my dog. Why did they shoot your dog? I don't know, because he was chasing deer or something. You can legally shoot a dog. I think you can legally shoot a dog whenever you want. But they shot my dog during hunting season. Oh, man, that sucks. Yeah. How old were you? I was probably, 12, 13. Okay, so your first death was a murder. Yeah. How about a person? I think I was almost 30 before my grandpa died. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I knew some kids in high school who died. Yeah, I knew people who died. Oh, yeah, they were kind of loud. This is a heavy subject. Speaking of ending yourself prematurely. When I was in summer camp, one of the kids, a week after summer camp, ended his life. Oh, jeez. Yeah. That kind of put a dampener on the summer. But what was I then? I was probably 12 or something. But I don't think I went to a funeral until I was all grown up. But, at every funeral you go to, there's little kids there. I always wonder, oh, what's that kid thinking? Grief. Good grief, Charlie Brown. And that's why Charlie Brown always said good grief. Because he was dealing with a lot of pain, a lot of loss. All those kids were. Really? How come? Well, none of them had parents. They had one teacher who they couldn't communicate with. She was just like, wah, 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 wah. So Charlie Brown, Snoopy could think in English. He understood, but he couldn't speak. Linus, he was attached to that blanket. Yeah. Lucy, all those weirdos. You never saw them once with their parents. I never thought of it. So you think those guys were all homeless, like orphans? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole lot. Charlie Brown. I mean, it's a tragic story. That's what I'm saying. So that's why cartoons is good to talk about difficult things with cartoons. That's what Charlie Brown is really about. Good grief. Good grief. What happened to my parents? Well, your parents are dead. Yeah, laugh it up. No, I'm not laughing about that. So, the grief relief that live inside of my head. What's going on down here? Missy says, Missy with the 5 spot says, BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO is the best. Ah, miigwech, cuz. And then she says, remember your experience with us? Auntie Tootie loved you so much. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was all grown up by the time Auntie Tootie started her journey. It was another one of those moments in my family where I don't know their actual birth name. You mean Tootie wasn't her name? No, it was Claire. My brother calls me up and he goes, man, you better get to the hospital. Tootie's, I hear she's taking a turn for the worst. I'm like, man. I just wanted to run in there and get out, I didn't really believe she was going to go that night. But she, so I get there with my flower. And then I go to the front, in the hospital, you got to ask what room they're in. And I went, yeah, I'm here to see my Aunt Tootie. And that's fine when you're at the Indian hospital because they know you and they know your auntie. But when you go to like the Grand Rapids Hospital or wherever we were, no, Duluth. We were in Duluth. You go to the big city hospital and they're like, well, what's her name? I'm like, Tootie. And she goes, we don't have a Tootie here. I had to call my brother up and go, what is Tootie's name? And he goes, hey, you dummy, it's Claire. I went, oh, Claire. What a pretty name. Why do we call her Tootie? Anyway, is it Claire here? And so get up there. And then it's way more serious. Then it's just, well, hunker in. We're all gathered. She's hanging on so people can come say goodbye. It was one of those things where, oh, you get there thinking you can say, hey, get well, and leave your flower, give her a kiss on the forehead, and go back to band practice. But then I was like, nope. We're here to say goodbye. And, it was one of those moments, too, where she hung on for people who could get there in time. And then after everybody was there, we all just kind of waited around. And then there was a break in the visitors. About 5 minutes where nobody was in there with her. And she started her journey. Surrounded by family. But then I remember when I left there, I had one of those weird, Indian spiritual moments. I get in my car and I'm driving away there, and it starts to rain. And it's those big, I guess, something weird happened. I noticed that the rain seemed like there were big drops and that it wasn't raining very hard, but that the drops were real big. And then for about, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, I was driving in slow motion. I was driving the speed limit, but everything seemed to slow down. Like the raindrops were just plop, 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 plop. Kind of like, when the Flash, when you see it from his perspective, it felt like that for about 30 seconds. I was like, what's going on here? And the street lights, I remember they made a pattern or design on the windshield. It was like, it went from red. Yeah, I stopped because the light was red. And it made like a red star. And then it turned green. And then it was a green star. I remember thinking it looked like a Christmas tree. And just about the time I went, what? Then everything went back to normal speed. And I was like, did I accidentally take some acid at that hospital? But I think I just kind of, I don't know. You get into these weird spiritual states when people pass away. There are a lot of spirits are there, and we don't even understand what that means. Most people just kind of think, oh yeah, spirits. Well, that's the driver inside your body. But there are spiritual, like I was just looking this up. Our word for spirit is like jibbe. Some people think OJIBWE has something to do with jibbe, like a breathing spirit or something. But spiritual powers, they call it something like manadukek, something like that. And like yesterday when we were talking about Sabe, yeah, and people call him a spirit because he has spiritual powers, and because he's not a monster. Wendigo is a straight up monster, but there's also a Wendigo spirit, like a bad spirit, that can enter your body. If you eat up your family, you will become a Wendigo. There is a Wendigo, and you can become a Wendigo. Not the vampire way. If you're just one of his victims, you don't become a Wendigo. But anyway, so, but people think of Sabe, Bigfoot, as a spirit because he has spiritual powers. He can disappear. He can shapeshift. I've even heard of sightings where they say Bigfoot can climb trees, like as fast as a squirrel. And you wonder, well, isn't he kind of big to be a squirrel? Well, maybe he's got the spiritual power of becoming light. Does he fly? Does he float up those trees? I don't know. We don't understand Bigfoot. But why was I talking about that? I don't know. But so spiritual things. That's the gift Okay, so here's something. Let me see if anybody has a comment here before I get moving here. Charlie Brown, Jessica says, Charlie Brown at least had a grandma. He called her on Thanksgiving. Is that right? Yeah, he had a grandma, remember? I forgot all about that. Oh, that's good. Living Under Rock says, are there any gatherings or powwows going on up in the Cass Lake area Memorial Weekend? Yeah, we usually have a Memorial Day powwow. I assume it's still going on. I haven't seen one way or the other, but yeah, we usually have one. Jessica says, but he was otherwise dependent on a dog to make him a jelly bean sandwich. Lisa says, those were the days, huh? Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. La 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 la. Do 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 do. Those were the days, my friend. I actually remember back in those days, in the good old days, when I was a little guy, going down to the Kirby's. Yeah. This is the kind of childhood I had. On a summer day, you know, in 1977 or whatever. Walking down through a dirt road path. You know, we had gravel roads, and then we had these little side roads sometimes, driveways. There was one side road and trails through the woods. Literal, like, over the hills and through the woods, you know. But once in a while, we'd get together at the neighbor's house. And I remember going up to the Kirby's, and they'd have a bonfire. And they would have, and they had a kind of like extended family. There's a number of families lived down there, but there were also summer girls. It was like, was there a campsite down there or something? Well, there was, you know, those resorts and stuff. Oh yeah, like Silver, what do they call that? Silver Beach? Silver Bay, Silver Beach, something like that. Yeah. So I remember going down, the sun's going down. It's a beautiful, gorgeous, mosquito-free summer day. You know, like it's still 65, 70 degrees, even though the sun's going down. There's a fire. My dad's playing acoustic guitar, and my mom is singing. And there's a bunch of people around, a bunch of kids. We'd gone swimming all day long. And I had been romancing this one summer girl named Sarah all day long. And my mom sang that song, those were the days, my friend. And, you know, I was only 10, so nothing ever happened with me and Sarah beyond just walking together and just taking in the romance. But, you know, I had no skills. I never kissed her or anything. Come on, I was 10. What do you want? But, you know, she was my summer girlfriend. And I hear that song and I remember, I don't know. Sometimes, like when I lived in Boulder, people would hear, oh, you were from northern Minnesota? Oh, did you grow up on a reservation? Oh, your life must have been so hard. I was like, no. My life was like a sentimental song from the good old days. Wisani says, I'm a proponent for teaching kids to be responsible in practice. Not make themselves jelly bean sandwiches. How do you make your own Sammy? Yeah. Children should be making their own sandwiches out of jelly beans. Ugh. Always learning. Hey, BOOZHOO, always learning. Welcome to the show. Says, do you know the significance of the man Cass and why they changed the name? Yeah. I did a show on it once. I wonder if I still have his picture. I don't think I do. I'm going to check real quick. Cass is the name of some sort of governor of Michigan, I think. One of these creepy, connected, Freemasonic guys who were responsible for starting every town in like 1910. And if I have a picture of him, that would be so neat. But I think it's on the other computer. Yeah, he's not on this one. So Cass, I forget his first name. Let me get out of this. I forget his first name, but when they started the town, they and this is the mystery of our history again. There's an official story that the governor of Wisconsin, who was, here's his photograph, and it's a picture of some fat weirdo in creepy old clothes with his hand kind of halfway in his jacket with that Freemasonic. Oh, sorry, Stephen. Stephen just fell. Came up here and I guess he was a lumber baron or something. But they named the town after him. He wasn't even like the governor of Minnesota. It makes no sense. But then they also renamed the lake. Gamisquah-Wahkogog. The Lake of the Red Cedars. Gamisquah-Wahkogog. Beautiful name. And people up here know that, oh yeah, that makes sense. There's red cedars up here, a lot of red cedars. Cedars, evergreen trees that turn red. People think, oh, are those dead? No, they're red cedars. So it's the Lake of the Red Cedars. Why, as Anishinaabe people, we allowed them and we played along with it, I have no idea. And there's a lot of Indian people around here who will, just kind of remind each other, going, hey, you want to go over to Gamisquah-Wahkogog? Yeah, you bet. There's a country rock band who named themselves Red Cedar Lake. People still remember the real name. But just like the term Indian, for some reason, the people who wrote the history books and named stuff named us Indians. But we all, without an exception, agreed to go along with it. I don't know. It is a mystery. Because it's not like there's a single person in town anywhere who cares one lick about Governor Cass. Like even Chief Bemidji gets some respect. He's got a statue at least. But yeah, he's responsible for the name of the town and renaming the lake in like 1930, 1920 something, or whenever Cass Lake became a town, 1860, who knows. Yeah. So just like everything, the more you look into it, the less you can count on what you've been told. We do a lot of talking about, always learning. You must know about this. When you're always learning what you had wrong, meaning learning what you were lied to about. Like, what? I thought Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492 and discovered America. What? No. That's just what they taught you. I bet you believe that the Civil War was about freeing the slaves. Mostly, my learning, all I've ever learned, everything I've learned in the last 3 years is that everything I thought I knew before was wrong. Might have been a deliberate, just outright lie. But I've had to relearn so much. Like, there are some things. I mean, I thought, evolution and a Big Bang was settled science. I thought, yeah, even the religious people don't debate that anymore because it's been proven somehow. Then you look into it, wait, no, it's a theory. Clearly, there's no scientific experiment. They can't recreate a Big Bang. You should hope. But, and don't even get me started on flat Earth. I won't even call it a theory anymore. Globe Earth theory is what I call it. So yeah, named after some guy whose last name is, I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer for you. Bemidji's at least named after an Indian. Laporte is a French word meaning the door. And there's the history of Laporte, that's the town I'm from, can be written on one side of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And just like all these little towns, the story is very mysterious. You go, okay, why? So my town is currently about 140 people. But in 1909, when the town began, they say there was 111 people living here. These are mostly white people. And there was a pickle factory. What's a pickle factory? I don't know. You mean like a jarring place? No, a pickle factory. They made pickles. Was there even a pickle farm around? How many cucumbers could we possibly... Anyway, a pickle factory, a potato factory maybe, a bank, a hotel, a jail, a grocery store, and that big building where trains stop, a depot. Was all built apparently by these 111 pioneers who started the town Laporte. Oh, and 3 churches. Was it 3 or just 2 at that time? I think 3. But then, like every town, probably the town you're from, whoever you are watching this now, there was the Great Fire of 1912 or whatever. Big old fire. Burned down the town. And they had to rebuild it. And you go, wait. How did they build... Why did they build a hotel in the middle of Indian country for 111 people? They had a bank. You look at pictures and be like some old bank made out of bricks. Where did these people get the bricks? There wasn't even a train track here. And how come in history, the people who built like the courthouses and the libraries and the churches, those same people who came up to northern Minnesota, as history tells us, they came up here in the mid-1800s, late 1800s, and they built colleges and churches and courthouses and put statues everywhere. And then at night, they'd go home to their log cabins. You go, what? Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, for ourselves, we're going to build our homes out of just lumber. Or maybe we'll just cut down trees. And we'll use mud to winterize it. And these will be our homes. But the courthouse we'll build, that's going to be, we're going to ship in some marble. Wait a second. You guys didn't build this stuff. I don't know who did, but I think these buildings were here long before they say they were here. And I don't think the pioneers built everything. I think the pioneers built log cabins. And anything that's no longer standing, that was built by the original Chamokaman. But if it's a beautiful building out of stone and brick, I mean, that, the stuff that's obvious, that you can remember in this lifetime being built. But anything that was built, like the colleges, these great buildings with ivory. Why was there so much ivory on the colleges? Well, because they'd been sitting there for a long time. It's kind of like those, remember those like in the Jungle Book? How those monkeys lived in that hidden city or palace in the jungle? Yeah, what's up with that? Right. Who built a palace in the jungle? Maybe somebody built it there before it was a jungle. Yep. Somebody built that palace, and then they went away, and trees grew up all around it. Well, I think that happened here in Minnesota and all over North America. There was somebody here with advanced technology. Some people want to call them the Tartarians. Or, I don't know. The kind of people who would build something that had domes. And something that had pillars at the entrance. And huge stone doorways with curves on the top. Those people, there was like a worldwide culture. One shared culture of people who were probably giants. Who could build, I don't know. And then something happened. And they all went away. And their buildings got covered in mud. So that the first floor would be halfway underground. Maybe more. Maybe this whole beautiful building's way underground. I was walking by that Presbyterian church yesterday. The one downtown by the music school? Yeah. And you're walking on the street and you look over at what's clearly the roof of that building at eye level. And you go, how deep does this church go? I want to go in there and ask like the janitor, where's the bottom of this building? Does it just keep going down? Are there 2 or 3 more stories under street level? That would be a really impractical way of building a house. But if there's a huge mud flood in your town, and then they paved over it again just the best they could, and they dug out little window wells around all the windows in the colleges, replaced the... Oh, that's the other thing, how many of these old buildings do you see where you can tell, oh, that used to be a window there, and they bricked it up. Oh, yeah. Even that church I was looking at, these beautiful windows that have plexiglass instead of glass. And you go, I bet you that used to be stained glass. Something happened that broke out all the glass. And in modern history, it's not... For some reason, they've decided against replacing the windows with glass. We can only afford plastic. Huh. And there's always some BS story. Oh, yeah, they would have taxes based on your windows. So people just bricked up their windows to save on taxes. It's like, people don't do that. You don't go, what? I can save $30? Yeah, smash out the windows and let's get a mason in here to brick it up. I will never see the sun from inside. These churches too, like how did they heat them in the old days? Why would they build a church with such a high ceiling in northern Minnesota and not put a fireplace in there? And not have a technology of heating? A lot of those old churches don't have bathrooms either. Really? Yeah. They'll have a huge, workable, playable organ and no bathroom. And no fireplaces. It's weird. Living Under X says, I'm not understanding the politics on the thousands of acres of land being returned to the Anishinaabe. Uneducated. Yeah, who are they returning to exactly? To the Reservation Tribal Council? Individual Indian people sold off their own land. Red Lake had like community-owned land, so no one person could sell their land. But Leech Lake, everyone got allotted a little bit of land, and if you wanted to, you could sell it. And so everybody did that. Something like 2% of Leech Lake land is owned by Leech Lake band members. So what, is the government buying up land from non-Indians and then just giving it back to the reservation? What, so they can sell it again? In our way, and I think we should go back to this, we didn't own land. And everyone, says, oh yeah, that's how you got swindled out of your land, because Indians didn't have this concept of ownership. It's like, yeah, Still don't. What do you mean? You don't own that land. You're just living on it. This land doesn't belong to you or us. This is Gitche Manadu's land. You know, you just get to live here for now. But yeah, there's a lot of guilty white people trying to make amends. Oh, here, we gave you back your land. Oh, yeah? Okay. Can't believe anything we hear or see on any news, anything anymore. I know, that's the thing. Like if I watch, even like Yahoo headline news, you can just see it. You just scroll through, and once your eyes are open, if you have eyes to see, you just see like, oh yeah, that's probably a fake story. That's a fake story. That's propaganda. That's just trying to push this agenda. You go, that's not even news. You know, nobody's just updating on what's going on. Oh, is there a war going on in Israel or something? I wouldn't know. Oh, but look, Bill Gates is getting a divorce. Whatever. The media is dead. You know, the best we can do, thank God we got social media. It's gone back to gossip. Hey, you know what I heard? Nah, you don't have to wear that mask anymore. They say if you get a vaccination, you're fine. Oh, really? Well, then how come I've been programmed to hate people not wearing masks? That should be a sign that they got vaccinated, right? Like, no, the whole point is just to drive you crazy and to make you mad at each other. Half of these news stories now are going to be just right down the middle to somehow be divisive and confusing. Get your vaccination, and you can take off your mask when you're outside by yourself. What's that now? Oh, nothing. Tomorrow we're going to talk about why some people won't wear a mask. Because they're selfish and they're not Nazis. And you go, what? Just yesterday you said we didn't have to wear them anymore. You know. Well, can you prove you had the vaccination? Like, no. Well, then wear the mask because this proves that you haven't had the vaccination. It's like, why am I trying to prove anything to you? Oh, hypothetical straw man argument. I'm fighting with right now. Are you fighting with nobody again? Yep. They got me on the vaccinations and the masks. What do I look like, Spider-Man? Quit telling me to put on my mask. Jessica says, I imagine you might get lower insurance rates with less windows, though. That was exactly it. Yeah, less insurance. But it sounds like a story that was made up after people started asking questions. When you go, what? Why would anybody do this? And why do they do it in every town across the country? And what kind of insurance policy is that? Is that really a thing? And I don't remember getting homeowner insurance and saying, how many windows do you have? Well, I got, let me see, there's 12 windows. You know, you could cut your rate in half if you just smashed out those windows and bricked them up. Say no more. The money I save will pay for the bricks and the years to come of, and they do it to like public buildings too. Like I was walking around like the government building, the cop center. You go, man, you guys used to have huge windows that looked out whatever this building used to be. Would have been a gorgeous building before you bricked up every window on the whole side of this building. Why would you do that? Well, we designed this and spent millions of dollars, but then we wanted to save a little money later. Oh, okay. That adds up. Steve says, proves that aliens don't go to the bathroom. Well, there you go. Maybe having to go to the bathroom is a new thing. Maybe the people who made those old cathedrals and stuff didn't have, private parts. Because you see those gray aliens you never see. It's just smooth down there. They're like a G.I. Joe. How you doing, Steve? Wisani, I wear a vial around my neck like an amulet. You wear a vial? Like a vial of blood? Jessica says, I can't believe it. Out here, the mafia would offer protection for your store, etc. if you paid them a fee. And if you didn't, well, something might happen to your windows. Yeah, it'd be a real shame if anything happened to these windows. That's probably what happened. It's probably the mob. Well, windows just got blown up too many times. What do you think, sweetie? You want to get up here and say hello to the BOOZHOO crew? Sure. All right. Well, hey, you guys. Now that we've covered a conspiracy theory, I feel like I can go. And we touched on the mud flood again, so my work here is done. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a song we'd like to play for you. Oh, this is a really important song. This is the song that we recorded just for you, and that I couldn't be bothered with remembering what it was. But when I come back, or when, whatever, after the song, please welcome Natasha. All right, I will see you again. Sweetie, you want to teleport me away? Yeah, sure. GOFUNDME. Minowa.
You know, it never went away. From the summer that, or it was in the fall, I guess, it was in August. When Elvis died, that's not really fall, but when Elvis died, immediately people started going, is he really dead? You know, in the 70s, the witness protection program was really something people talked about a lot.
When you get what you want, but not what you need. When you feel so tired, but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse. Tears come streaming down your face. When you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone but it goes to waste. Could it be worse?
Maybe even on Graceland property. It's got a real name. And he sings beautifully. And he's a pastor. I think they call him Pastor Jesse something. And they saw a video of him singing How Great Thou Art in a bar with an Elvis Presley impersonator. So
Down below,
When you're too in love
to let it go.
you never try,
You'll never know.
just what you're worth.
Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones. I will try.
To fix you.
a lot of nice guys out there.
destructive. She's got self-esteem issues, you know, you gotta put up with a lot of stuff. Because you want to fix her. You know what she actually needs? Needs a man like me. You know, it's like how I fixed you, huh, honey? You never fixed me. You know, I saw you there crying around in the gutter. I was like, you know what? You know what you never see?
What's that?
A really beautiful homeless girl.
What do you mean?
Because somebody is, you know, gonna fix that girl. She's beautiful. She's not gonna just wander the streets. There'll be some nice guy going, hey man, hey man. Come home with me.
Your bones, and I will try to fix you.
BOOZHOO! How you doing? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. How you doing, guys? Let's see who's here. Jessica, BOOZHOO, Jessica. Jessica says beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. I love that song. I know it's not cool to like Coldplay. Like every cool person, that's the go-to band to hate. Oh, I bet you like Coldplay. Like, yeah, sorry. I think they're great. I love that song. Coldplay is both sad and like inspirational at the same time. That's a hard feeling to get in songs. And living under a rock. Programmed hate. Very true. We were all taught to hate on every side. Every race and every creed. Time for a change. People are people. People are people, so what does it mean? You and I shouldn't do so awfully. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We've been trained to hate. We've been brainwashed to divide ourselves by race, nationality, gender, belief, politics. Divide and conquer. You know. Oh, what do you think happens when we die? Oh, I think differently. I can't be your friend anymore. You know. Oh, you're oppressing me with your belief. It's tough though. I talk like I'm above it, but like I couldn't go out with somebody who didn't believe that was a baby in a pregnant woman's belly. Oh no, that's just a collection of cells. You're just a collection of cells. No, it's my right to choose. But you know, I've been trained. It's weird. I've been trained to tolerate that in a weird way. But also, I've been trained to not identify with people who would share that opinion. It's like, oh, I'm not one of them. You know, you'll notice I'm not wearing my pink hat anymore. I was going on those marches, marching for women's rights. It's like, hey, man, we deserve the right to vote. This is ridiculous. And then somebody said, yeah, that happened in 1919. Oh, really? Well, then we demand the right to equal pay for equal work. It's like, yeah, that's what you have. Oh, really? What about the wage gap? I was out there marching. Give us the same amount of money. They're like, what? For working less hours and taking jobs that pay less? You want to make the same? I'm like, well, no. But how come men make more money than women? It's like, well, because they work more hours. When's the last time you saw a man take a year off to raise his baby? That's not a thing.
There's no wage gap. Come on. We are family. I got all my sisters and me. You know. Well, what about this culture? This country. It's rape culture. Me too. Hashtag me too. How come it's okay? How come men, they think it's okay? It's like, no, actually most men agree to have death penalty for rapists. Yeah. You're going to have a hard time finding a man who wants to take it easy on the rapist. Hey, you know, let him be. You know. It's like, no, it's not. So I hung out my pink hat. I turned in my feminist badge and I said, you know what? I guess I'm not part of this club anymore. Some basic rules here I just don't jive with. So, oh, but it's a woman's right to choose. It's like, really? I don't think it is. I beg to differ. You know? Sorry, sisters. You're on your own. I'll be hanging out with the dudes. Looking out on the morning rain. Have you guys ever, is anyone here is like me, where all your opinions changed at like, I don't know if any of you are old enough, but when I turned 50, I took a hard right turn. It was like I pivoted on my heel. And I used to be such a hippie. I used to be such a lefty. And I don't know if the world just went so far left I couldn't keep up. Or if I just became an old lady and went, hey, no, those guys cannot have their transgendered story hour. That's weird. You guys are weird and suspicious, and I won't have you around the children. Where like a year earlier, it would have been, hey, we got to fight for the trans rights. It's like, nope, I don't care about your rights. Get out of the bathroom, you weirdo. Don't call me a weirdo, you transphobic. It's like, no, I'm just being a middle-aged person. This is a girls' room. That belongs to the girls. You can call yourself whatever you want, but you're a boy, so get out of here. No, you cannot compete on a girls' basketball team if you're born a boy. Oh, how come you're so intolerant? It's like, I don't know. I'm so intolerant at my age that I'm not even embarrassed. You know, that's what happens eventually. I saw it happen to my grandparents. What's that? Like the things you're, old-fashioned about. You know, your prejudices, your discriminations. You learn to stand by it. You know, say, well, I just don't like them. You know, don't trust them. You go, what, Grandpa? They're called Japanese Americans. Don't use that word. That's racist. It's like, what? The Japs? If they have a problem with it, they can say it to my gun. Be like, what, Grandpa? No. But then I'm getting to his age now, and I'm like, yep, no, shut up. These are my intolerant opinions. You know? Caitlin and I agree on this. You boys, quit competing with the girls. You're forcing us to admit we don't really think of you as real women. Nope. You're just a dude in a dress. Sorry. Oh, but science has proven, shut up. Sorry. I'm old and intolerant. Sorry. Say it to the hand. When I was a little girl, that's what we would say. Say it to the hand. Now you can say it to my fist. And say it to my finger. No. No, I want to do that. We're still a children's show. Sunny day. So how you guys doing? We started talking about grief, and now I'm talking about intolerance and discrimination and how it's good. Today, children, on the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast about Ojibwe language and culture and diversity. Did you know diversity is overrated? Yeah. You know, if you're going to be on a team, like a basketball team,
You need to all wear the same uniform so you know who to pass to. No diversity. And when you play in a band, a rock band, and you're playing a song, everybody should be uniform in timing. It's not a time to be tolerant of different ways of expressing yourself. Like, no, you have to play your part at the time and in the timing and in the same volume as the rest, whatever. Diversity. Whatever. The military makes everybody have the same haircut. They're so not interested in diversity. Because sometimes it's best to just... some diversity is overrated. Like in the military and in sports and in music, uniformity, and then what was the other one? Oh, discrimination. People say, oh, you should never discriminate. It's like, really? I can't discriminate against which clothes I wore yesterday and which ones I'm going to wear today, which is the same thing apparently. But, discrimination's not bad. You have to discriminate between the red light and the green light, or you wouldn't know when to stop or go. They've made the word discrimination bad. But then, Weesney, thank you for saying this. Weesney says, diversity of thought. So it was not that long ago. I applied for a job in a college in the Native American department, and it was going great, and it was a job I was really qualified for, and I knew some of the people already who were interviewing me, and NANABOOZHOO and I were kind of well known in this town, and so it was a job that probably could have had. But then I noticed when they talked about diversity, I said this, and I think I ruined the interview for myself. They go, what are your thoughts on diversity? And I said, well, a lot of people focus on diversity of race and never on diversity of thought. And especially in a college, you just got to ask yourself, are people accepting of diverse thoughts? How many people, and this is before the election, I go, how many people do you know who work at this college who are going to vote for Donald Trump? Does the school respect the opinions of the people who don't want transgender people in the bathrooms? Who feel on religious grounds and scientific grounds to believe that there's only two genders? Do they feel comfortable? Is this truly a diverse community? Or is it only diversity in race? And I didn't get the job. And so I was like, was it the crack about two genders? And, But yeah, nobody wants diversity of thought. Remember in the good old days when you could have like your buddies? It's like, oh, that's my one friend, and he's super religious and conservative. And here's my other friend. He's gay and transgender and super liberal. And here's my other friend. He's just straight up schizophrenic and a conspiracy theorist. And there's my other friend. He's an atheist. And there's my, Muslim girlfriend or whatever. And it truly was like the, American dream. Everybody was different, but nobody cared that so much that it was, you didn't define yourself. It's like, yeah, whatever. I happen to be a blank, but we're never going to talk about this again. There'll be one conversation. What race are you? Oh, my mom is this, my dad is that. That makes me this. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, so let's go to the heavy metal concert, or whatever. Shared thing you would have. But in the new paradigm, in the colleges and in the media, you gotta check all the little boxes. Oh, I'm a strong, brave woman of color. And I've been diagnosed with, what is it?
There's a new CIA director who's like a transgendered person of woman of color who's also like on a spectrum or has bipolar disorder or something. There's every disability, just anything. You're like, don't need to know. Just shut up. You know, your race and your handicaps and your self-identifying whatever. It's like Demi Lovato. I don't even know who Demi Lovato is. I know the name. I think she sings or something. But apparently I had to hear about her again because she came out and she said, my pronouns will now be they, them, because I am whatever. And you go, they, them? No, your pronouns have to be singular. You're one person, you know. And you go, does they know they have a ridiculous haircut? You know, I'm so not interested in them, Demi Lovato. You know, they are just begging for attention. Look at me. My pronouns are they, them. Oh, really? Who are you talking to? I will determine your pronouns when I use language. You don't get to determine that. You're she, her. You know, just from now on, this is what happened. We should have nipped it in the bud when people started giving themselves like stage names. From now on, call me LL Cool J. Like, what? No, whatever your real name is what you will call, but we let them do it. We tolerated it. And now look at the mess we're in. My pronouns are they, them. From now on, my pronouns are, Ocasio-Cortez is no, I'm not going to be mean. All right, you guys. I think we better get out of here. Thank you so much for spending a little time with us this morning. It's so nice to see everybody here, the BOOZHOO crew. We'll be back tomorrow with another chapter of... Grief Relief. Tune in tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We'll pick it up and we'll talk a little more about grief until we get sidetracked complaining about the left. And my name is Natasha. Over here is NanaBOOZHOO. BOOZHOO.
Over there is Michael Lyons.
Hello.
And I will see you again. GOFUNDME. Minawaha. Hoaha. Now, yesterday, the music didn't even play. And I could totally hear it, my headphones, but... So, it'll be interesting to hear if the music's playing. I hope it is.
It probably is. I don't know. Sometimes it's just sort of glitchy with YouTube. Like not being able to see the messages and that.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I can't complain. It is free. What's the word of the day, Weesony says? Well, if you showed up on time, Weesony. Word of the day today was by Michael Lyons. No. Osada Wendam. Grief. Osada Wendam. Because Osada Wendam grief. Do. We're still silent? Doggone it. Okay. The music's not working. We're just going to have to sing from now on.
Yeah, we can do that.